Welcome, everyone, to Boxing Scene's Top Stories, only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George DiMatteis. Don't forget to download the ProBox TV app where apps are available. Joining us here on Top Stories, we got our world champions. We have Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi joining us here on Top Stories. Well, and with an abundance of mainstream interest, that novelty bout between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson will be taking place this Friday on Netflix. Now, there are concerns surrounding the fight with the presence of the 58-year-old Mike Tyson in oversized gloves in 2-minute rounds, and questions persist if the outcome will be staged, with several states restricting betting on the fight. Now, at Tuesday's public workout in Texas, Boxing Scene's Carol Mulvaney reported, quote, "Did it seem as if Tyson still had his famous hand speed? Yes. Did he give us any reason to believe he would deploy it with a stiff jab in his face or for longer than a minute at a time? No. This was a performative exercise. As far as Tyson is concerned, the hard work is over." Now, Tyson himself admitted, "When I agreed to this fight and I started training, I said, what the bleep was I thinking? But now I've finished the process. The fight is the party. The hard work is done." All right, Paulie, what should we expect from this fight, this novelty event here between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
Honestly, I'm not sure what to expect here, you know. From one side of things, I think it's good that for Mike Tyson to have gone through a bit of a training camp and to have gotten himself as healthy as possible and to work himself out this way, you know. But from the other side of it, not for a fight, you know, not for him to be getting hit by a guy 30 years younger than him. You know, a 58-year-old doesn't take as good of a shot as a younger man. Tyson himself, when you really think about it, wasn't taking a very good shot in his mid-30s at the time of retirement. He was going down very easily. He was, you know, the chin had been dented already, so to speak, you know. So I'm not quite sure there. The gloves are bigger. What are they supposed to be? 14-ounce gloves, 12-ounce gloves? I'm not sure what they're wearing. But,
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're all a little bigger, but still, when there's big guys like this, you can still feel the shots to a degree, you know. It's I don't know, man. I'm one of those people that worries for Tyson's health. You know, I think you got your veritable cast of idiots who actually think, you know, Paul is the one who's got to be worried. But I think the reason that there's no betting is probably for the sake of Tyson probably having no shot in this thing at all. You know, I would honestly be suspicious of something being fixed if Tyson even goes the distance. You know, that's how against this I am. You know, I just don't think a 58-year-old at this age against a, you know, it's not like Jake Paul's a total novice at this point. Nobody's saying Jake Paul's world class, but Jake Paul's been boxing 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years of boxing is still plenty of experience. He's a big, strong kid. He's a big kid, and you know, this thing is dangerous for Mike. If it goes the distance, that's you know, it's funny because every time Jake Paul gets a knockout, you have all the idiot crew that comes out and says it's fixed, it's this and that. You can see the shots clearly landing. Nothing's fixed. You guys are getting blasted off their dome piece and then going to sleep in some of these fights, and people still think it's fixed. But if Tyson actually goes the distance, I would think it's more Jake keeping his feet off the gas pedal.
Yeah, Chris, what do you expect from this fight there, and and then afterwards, what's the fallout from the fight as well?
Honestly, I have zero expectation. I don't know what to expect. Like you said, Champ, I don't know if this is a real fight. Obviously, those betting lines are falling to the wayside because of that. You know, is Paul going to go out there and fight Tyson like he's fighting everyone else, where he's guns blazing, shot out of a cannon first round, and try and knock out a 58-year-old man? In which case, what does that do for anybody? I don't understand. I know these guys are getting paid. I know Mike is making a huge payday. I know Mike got in great shape for this fight, is at the best shape that he could get in. But if Paul goes out there and beats on Mike and gets him out of there and knocks him out in the first or second round, does that really help him? Are people going to look at that as a victory? Like that going on his record, is that really going to matter?
Champ, it is, because the crew that's really interested in this fight are not a crew that's very educated in anything. The crew that's actually interested in this fight think that I don't know about you, man, but I've got my veritable case of cousins back in the Northeast. They don't think Mike Tyson's going to win. They're out of their minds. They're you know, it's just what it is, you know. So I think Paul knocking out Tyson, to people like that, actually does mean something. To people like us who are more in the know and educated and have an educated eye, no, of course not.
But that's going to be the entire boxing community, people who actually know this sport. And yes, we are a niche sport, and there's I mean, relatively small contingent compared to football or basketball or soccer. But listen, see, the entire sport would look at that like, come on, dude, what are you doing? And yeah, sure, the YouTube fans that, you know, his diehards, his sickle fans that are out there will be like, oh man, he knocked out Tyson, man. But he's 58. 58-year-old brains cannot be getting hit like this. I too fear for the health of Mike Tyson. Yes, I know he's been in training. Yes, he got that extra time because he had a medical emergency on a flight, so the last fight was canceled. We are actually here in Fight Week. You can see he looks in much better shape than he looked like he was over the summer. But I don't know, man. Getting, like you said, training is one thing. Getting hit in the brain for money is another. And at 58 years old, I don't even know how you get this thing sanctioned. Yeah. Honestly, I don't care if it's Mike Tyson.
You don't.
He's still a man.
14-ounce gloves, right? Is it going on their records of 14-ounce gloves? How's that even possible? 2-minute rounds of 14-ounce gloves is sanctioned as a pro fight.
Right. There's a lot of things.
Will do anything.
There's a lot of rules being bent to make this thing happen, and I just don't see the reason for it other than just a big cash grab.
So, Paulie, how much does this tarnish the sport, or if you're being maybe overly optimistic, does it help bring fans to the sport and generate fans? What's your thought on that?
I was more so a fan of the bringing more fans to the sport. I was more so with that concept early on in Jake Paul's career. I realized that the cast of characters that Jake brings, though, are not going to be boxing fans. They have no desire to learn about boxing. They have no desire to actually educate themselves on boxing. It's the same redundant thing over and over again. I'm not against Jake for the fact that Jake does a lot for boxing, and Jake has a better understanding than the cast of characters that follow him. You know, he does a lot for fighters that he signs. He puts together the shows. He signs fighters. He gets them paid. So Jake himself, I actually like what he's doing because he has an understanding. But the crowd that he's bringing in here is not a crowd that's going to stick around post-Jake. It's not a crowd that understands boxing. It's not a crowd that even cares to understand boxing or know boxing. They're just here today, gone tomorrow. So it's not really helping the sport here.
Yeah, Chris, what's your thoughts on, is it helping the sport, and could it, as I mentioned, overly optimistic, bring fans to the sport? What's your thought?
I mean, let's talk about it. This isn't boxing. It's 14-ounce gloves in 2-minute rounds. This is not a boxing match. This is not a male professional boxing match. So let's be honest with that. But the rest of the card's real. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, too, is a great fight, and that's being part of the. You've got Mario Barrios is on the card. You know, he's a legitimate welterweight world champion and a very good fighter. So, you know, you've got real guys on the card. And to your point, Champ, Jake puts on grassroots local promotional fights, like fight promotions that local guys get a chance. Guys get TV exposure, and you got him, his mouthpiece, his brand on the head of it, the header of it. It brings these guys attention, and that's a good thing.
And I think, you know, even somebody like Lucas Body is a great story. You know, he was a dangerous lightweight. Nobody was giving him a chance. He really was on the outside looking in, you know, being brought up by a couple of friends of mine in Toronto with Phil Greco and his crew. But they were having trouble getting noticed by the bigger promoters, and they weren't getting an opportunity. And Jake put him on. Jake put him on against Ashton Sylvan. Lucas probably has, what in my opinion is the knockout of the year, you know. And coming off that, he's got the momentum, and he's on this card as well. So, again, Jake doing things for boxing. That's what I'm talking about. You know, that's actually doing something for boxing. Lucas Body would still be on the outside looking in if not for a Jake Paul having given him that opportunity to fight Ashton Silva on the last card.
Yeah, Shushu Carrington on that card as well. He's an up-and-comer in the featherweight division. By the way, we're talking about the age difference here. Jake Paul was 6 years old the last time Mike Tyson was in a competitive fight. That was the Kevin McBride fight back in June of 2005.
So Mike Tyson was shot when Jake Paul was 6 years old.
Essentially.
So Mike Tyson was already shot before Jake Paul even knew who Mike Tyson was.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I agree with you guys, champs. Hopefully, I'm concerned about the health of Mike Tyson in this fight, so we shall see what happens. But it is a spectacle for sure, and he put it in Jerry's World in Arlington, Texas, so you know there's going to be a lot of people in the ring. And, of course, we will discuss the fallout from the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight here on Top Stories. Remember to scan the QR code, like, subscribe, and leave your comments on our YouTube channel, and download the ProBox TV app where apps are available. On YouTube and on the ProBox TV app, you can watch the champs watch that Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight, and maybe the Serrano-Taylor fight. We'll have some commentary on that as well. You can watch it on the app and on YouTube as well. Should be a great one with the champs. Turn down the commentary on Netflix and listen to the champs talk about that fight. And then a couple weeks later, ProBox TV returns to Ireland, December 7th, the Contender Series, only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I'm George DeMatteis, and this is Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
ProBox TV Contender Series. On December 7th, look for an all-out Irish war as Dylan the Real Deal Moran battles Tyrone the Mighty Celt McKenna at the top of a stacked ProBox-worthy card.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.